Hello! Hi everyone! It's Luke here from Outside Xtra with Jane from Outside Xbox.
Hi!
And Johnny.
Hello!
From Eurogamer.
Also ahoy.
Let's get this out of the way right up top. We're going to be talking Life is Strange 2 Episode 3 spoilers. So if you haven't played Life is Strange 2 Episode 3 and don't want to hear what happens in it, stop watching now. Also, we're probably going to be talking spoilers from all the other Life is Strange canon up to and including this point, both games. So there's your warning. Right! Let's cry.
Yeah.
Let's cry loads. Okay, we're keeping an eye on the chat as well, so we're looking out for your guys' theories and thoughts. We're going to structure this a little bit. So the first thing I want to talk about is a little guy. You know him as Finn. John, let's roll VT for Finn.
What's your big plan, Prophet?
Want to know what my plan is? Picture this. A kick-ass beach house in Costa Rica. Sunshine, feet in the sand, sweet ocean view. We be one big, fucked up, happy, dysfunctional family. We just chill and sing and drink cocktails out of coconuts.
And we're back.
And we're back. So, Finn. Jane, you have a great theory about Finn.
Oh, I don't know if it's a theory, it's a description.
Go on.
Finn is clearly a cult leader in the making. He's, come back to him in several months' time, maybe a few years, and he will definitely be running some sort of the family sex cult out in the woods where he's like, free love, man. I don't see gender. Have sex with whoever you want, but it has to be me.
Yeah, obviously first you have to have sex with me, and then sort of every day.
Yeah, because he's charismatic. He's already attracted his family to him. They already do what he says, and he might seem like a nice guy, but he is seconds away from becoming a charismatic cult leader who asks you to do terrible things. In fact, he's already asking people to do terrible things.
And then not listening if they say they're not going to do them.
Thank you, Johnny. Exactly. It's classic cult leader behaviour.
I really struggled to get mad at Finn too much, because as soon as he was introduced with his sort of high and mighty ideals about,
hey guys, let's all share our worst ever memory. That'll be fun.
Yeah, and all that stuff. As soon as he started talking like that, I was like, okay, before the end of this eepisode, he is going to have an undignified descent into scrabbling greed, where he's going to do something really gross.
Want to know what my plan is?
Because I felt like that was so obviously on the cards.
I can't hate you for the way you're written.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Jessica Rabbit in Who Killed Roger Rabbit.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Who Framed Killed Roger Rabbit. No, where she's like, I'm not bad, I'm just drawn this way.
Yeah.
He's just drawn that way.
So
exactly.
This is the thing. I think Finn is obviously a very controlling character. I don't think that's kind of up for debate, because obviously Cassidy's talking about how they'll be somewhere and then he'll decide it's time to move on, and she thinks they should be hitting the road, but he's not sure about it. And, it's stated that he's the one who has the hookup for these jobs on the weed farms.
Yeah.
Clearly he has the ability to, facilitate these people in what they're doing and stuff. But with that comes a real element of control. And it's just whether or not he's aware of it. Because if he is aware of it, he's really manipulative. If he's not completely aware of it, he's just, a real naive idealist. Weirdly, Finn reminds me of a lot of people I've known in the past who, used to work the festival circuit.
Oh, I'm so sorry, John.
Some of them were great people. They would basically they would just do the builds and the teardowns for all these festivals. So they'd be living on the festival grounds, building festivals, doing them, and then tearing them back down again. And some of them were all like, man, everyone's just so chill. Why can't you just be more chill and open to things? But they were some of the most uptight people I've ever met, and they were actually very personally controlling. So when I was watching Finn, I was like, I know 10 people just like you.
And I suppose as well, because with that sort of festival thing, it's that access control. Finn is the gatekeeper to this sort of arguably sweet gig, where for almost no money you make drugs in the woods all summer. But hey, everyone seems keen on it on the farm, so yeah, he does have that. Why do you think that he has that relationship with Merrill, the sort of drug dealer guy? It's weird that Finn is his sort of chosen.
I think Merrill just sees him as a facilitator. He's like, you've got access to all these dumb young kids.
9-year-olds who'll
I
work.
need dumb young kids. And he's sort of capitalizing on Finn's charisma and ability to attract these kind of strays and waifs. I think that might be it. He's just like, you're my recruitment agency, you're my office angels of weed farming.
He clearly sensed that he didn't have that many. He, wasn't that scrupulous a person, and I think that bore fruit when he saw the safe and was like, gonna have to get in there.
Yeah.
I feel like Finn was being played for a lot of the time, but also like Meryl saw that he wasn't actually like the cool, easygoing guy that he claims to be. It's just that went sour when he was like, there's a lot of money in a safe right there, and we've got a kid with supernatural powers.
Yeah. Commenter Hebrew Hammer in the chat says, Finn went full Dutch, gotta keep the faith and just get some money.
I texted Luke when we were playing, or when I was playing, and I was like getting real Dutch Van der Linde vibes. So that's the gang leader from Red Dead Redemption, when he's like, I just want to retire to a beach house in Costa Rica and drink cocktail umbrella
just need
drinks.
a little money.
We just need some money
to get to the beach house.
Yeah, and you're like, Dutch, is that you?
Oh yeah, and he's like, we're all gonna live free in their house on the beach and drink cocktail coconuts, and you just know that if they actually got that money, it would be like gone overnight, and then he'd be cooking up some other crazy scheme.
Also, as a sidebar, it really ground my gears when he's like, I don't see gender. Am I blowing your mind right now?
Yeah,
like,
you normies
just
can't handle
Finn.
me.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Saying I don't see gender is just another way of saying I don't want to engage with gender politics as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
like
I completely agree.
I don't really care about this because it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
Lucky for you, Finn.
Yeah.
Oh, I think everyone should be equal. It's like,
I think it was largely harmless, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm assuming neither of you even got the opportunity to give him a little smooch.
I didn't know you could until afterwards.
Yeah.
Although I did stay up to get my my haircut.
you fool! Why would
Am
you?
I the only one that got the haircut? Free haircut.
I'm sure you're not the only one who got a haircut, but I'm also sure that you're not the only one who massively regretted the decision.
It grew on me. But I do like his like shaggy wild boy hair, but actually I quite like the sort of Mohican thing.
I knew it. I knew he was going to get a weird badger undercut.
Yeah,
everyone
it's
who
sort of
goes
an undercut
and works,
Mohican.
Well, it's like the camp look, isn't it? It's sort
He
of
did keep
almost
clean. That hair stinks. You know it does.
Yeah. It needed to. I mean, I haven't seen the hair cutting scene, but I assume it doesn't get like a wash and a rinse and a bit of a chat about where you're going on holiday first.
Yeah.
Just like when you get the tattoo and you're like, oh, cool, getting a tattoo, and Cassie's like, right, well, like, here's a biro and a pin, and you're like, oh, it's
you're not going to sterilize that.
It's
and
a prison
like,
tattoo.
Yeah.
It's like, no. We'll talk a bit more about the haircuts and the tattoos later.
If you stay up enough the haircut, that's the bit where he's like, I don't see gender, man, and you're asked, do you like? I like girls, or some boys are cute, or I've dated loads, or I'm not really into anyone. That question.
Right.
So that's what happens if you do stay up, and I think that's how you end up having a little smooch with Finn, if that's your choice.
You have to agree to do the heist.
I assumed that would be the moment.
You can't smooch Finn unless you.
You're like, all right, Finn, let's hold up these drug dealers.
Pretty much. Why is he gonna?
Wow, I just feel so
passionate. Give it up if you're not going to help him on his criminal enterprise? Come on.
Wow. This offer gets better and better.
Just cooking up
sugar
plans.
in the honey pot.
Cooking up plans just gets me so steamy.
Oh,
Sean.
jeez. Wow. I can't remember the results screen, but presumably no one on Earth made out with Finn then.
I think
quite a few people.
Really?
I think
that means people were into the heist, though.
Yeah.
I think it's like anyone. To be honest, I think if you chose to do the heist, then those are all like the Venn diagram of people who did the heist and people who like Finn.
Overlap.
It's a circle. So if you're like, I'll just whatever Finn thinks, and Finn's like, let's get the safe, then at that point you'd be like, and we get to smooch the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe they went along with it because they were genuinely charmed by him.
I would fully have gone for the smooch option if it was presented to me, for sure. I'd be smooching everybody.
I see. You're just like, opportunist.
Smooching everybody. But it's you have to go along with the heist, and that there's no way I was agreeing to that.
No, it's completely daft. Like, I don't know how you're playing it with like Sean and Daniel, but like Aoife and I, because we play it together on Eurogamer, we're being like very stern parents.
So
same. We're trying to make the best possible little boy we can, even if that means being a lame bigger brother sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm not gonna send him off to do criminal things.
I know, but when they were describing the heist, I just thought, please let it be ultimately non-optional. Please don't give me the choice to do the heist, because I really want the heist to happen, but I can't choose it if it gives me the ideally, I would like to see that go down, because the drama. I think it's going to be wild.
I think on a meta level, you never have to worry about like a really big set piece not happening.
Yeah.
Because it's not so expansive and branching a game that you're going to miss something major because you choose not to. It'll still happen because they didn't make all this game for you not to see.
No, exactly. I mean, at the start of the game, when I realised we had close on like $1,400, the first thing I said was like, well, we're not going to get to keep that.
No.
Like, that's something terrible is going to happen here.
Yeah.
Because, like, you remember episode 1, you've got like, what?
$8.
Like $8
Yeah.
something. You're like,
basically nothing left.
How
yeah.
feed self and child?
Yes.
So if you're then like rolling in it, like
also because it's in an envelope in your tent. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's
that's
being
gonna get
stolen or
yeah.
lost, or we're gonna have to peg it, and it's gonna get left behind.
And also, I mean, like maybe somebody with a better grasp of maths or how buses in America work.
Yeah.
But like can answer this. But isn't $1,400 like probably enough to hop a Greyhound to the border?
That's true.
I was thinking about this actually. I'd be interested to know. It might be that maybe it's way more expensive than you think. Like maybe it's like paying for a flight or something. Let us know in the comments. How much do you think it would be to go across, say, 3 states on a Greyhound?
I assume it's for
Be
other
interested to know.
expenses. Like, do they need like fake documents to get?
Oh yeah,
across the
actually
border,
getting across the border
or-
potentially.
Or were they going to hitchhike and all the money's actually for something else altogether?
Also,
or-
like they don't need as much money as in the safe, but they do need a lot more money than they have. So maybe it's a situation of well, if we are going to steal this money to get all the money we need, we may as well take all the money beyond that point as well.
They said they needed just 1 more month. Like at
Oh
one
yeah,
point,
that's right. 1 more month of pay.
Sean's like just 1 more month.
Yeah.
And Daniel complains to me like, we've been here like a month, and if they've got $1,400 after a month, then they need $3,000, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well they're budgeting, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd like to see the spreadsheet.
I took the whole 1 more month thing as actually like Sean getting a taste for being able to do things and decide things for himself for a little bit and not wanting to leave. Like he was getting sucked into that kind of Dutch Van der Linde, like let's just stay here at the camp and talk about how close we are to achieving our dreams while never leaving and continuing to do crime. Like
it's kind of idyllic in its way. Like you've got a kind of hip bohemian crowd, you're hanging out and partying.
Yeah, living like that is fun. It just is. But you know, you also hear a lot of waff talked around the campfire. So.
Commenter Kellen Wood says that Finn was all right until he betrays you. I really wanted to punch him for that. You can get him shot to death, so there's an option. Sarah Shute says, did Jane or Luke, did either of you romance anyone? Because Johnny and Aoife did not.
I'm livid about this.
So let's get this out of the way now. I romanced Cassidy as far as it was possible to romance. Jane?
Same, yep.
Same.
Thoroughly romanced Cass.
And Johnny, you had
John is holding up a calculation. It says $242, I think, is the fare to Mexico.
That's from the Greyhound website. Thank you, producer John. Okay.
$484.
So where's,
Yeah.
Where's the rest of that money going?
Good
guys?
question.
On
Good
Hot
question.
Dog Man t-shirts. You
Choco
can't
crisp
mustard
bars,
that big.
yeah.
Existential Penguin
Power Bear
says.
dolls.
Choco crisp bars. It is. Isn't it?
Existential Penguin says the Lord of the Flies book was the first clue. Yes, that was a little heavy-handed, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
The book in
My
Finn's
cult
tent.
manual.
He's always like doing cool stuff in the morning, like reading, like okay, yeah, all right, studying his manual. But yeah, so I didn't get to romance Cassidy. I really wanted to, but like.
Did you go skinny dipping or
No,
anything?
so that's the thing. If you don't go skinny dipping,
Yeah.
you can't smooch Cassidy.
That makes sense,
And I was like, let's get in the water, let's get in the water. And I fully admit it's because I find Cassidy really attractive. And Aoife was like, this is a dumb thing to do. We've just got a new tattoo. We're not sure where our brother is. Like, we should be more responsible. And I was like, yeah. So, like, yeah, then
I did wonder about the tattoo because he's got like a plastic wrap on it.
Yeah.
But you're getting in just the
If it wasn't
So-
infected already,
Yeah.
going in the lake.
It's either cling film, in which case it's a definite no getting in that lake,
Right.
or it could be it's a product called Second Skin or Tegaderm, which they actually use on burn victims. It's a literal second skin that goes over a tattoo, and after like a week or so you take it off and it's practically healed. But you can shower with it, like you're not supposed to bathe or go swimming, so you're still taking a risk. But his tattoo's not going to get much worse, is it? So.
Well, given that she had a biro, it's probably cling film and not the fancy stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, you're right. He was wrapped up like a sandwich, wasn't he?
Voltzion says, I'm sure Sean was just delaying the inevitable goodbye. So just the idea that deliberately not leaving the camp when they needed to.
Yeah. Because if
he was having a romantic fun time.
Yeah, if you do have this romance scene with Cassidy, there is a bit of like, I can't believe we waited this long and now you're leaving tomorrow morning. So maybe he was holding on. He's like, I just don't want to leave without having done anything, So, yeah.
I do think that is the other thing, the reason that's a little bit of a shame is that, as is perfectly understandable for Sean, because he's losing his virginity to Cassidy if you do go through with the sex scene with her, you get the impression that it hasn't gone very well, or at least that it certainly is beating himself up about it not having gone particularly well, right? And I think it's unfortunate for Sean to then sort of be in a situation where he then has to leave instead of properly being able to talk about that and unpack it and deal with it. I worry that Sean is basically leaving that. I mean, Sean has bigger problems, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But at the point when that happened, I was kind of thinking it's a shame that Sean, I don't want him to end up with a complex about, not being a very good romancer.
No.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have had crummy first times and they got over it.
I think there are two people in this world: the people who've had crummy first times and liars.
Quite.
Yeah.
Claire T says, presuming since you can kill Finn, he doesn't play a role in anything further. I think that's a safe bet.
That is.
Yeah.
No Finn in episode 4.
Especially not with the road movie format. I mean, I don't know. People said that we wouldn't see Kate Marsh again, whether or not she was saved. And if you do save her, you have a whole scene in the hospital.
That's true.
Yeah, so there might be little bits, but nothing like mission critical.
Nah.
I guess.
Unless it's Finn's ghost.
Oh no, Finn!
No!
Leave me,
Oh
Finn.
my god, can you imagine being haunted by Finn? The actual was, hello!
I don't see gender.
All right, I think we're ready to move on to the next thing I want to talk about, which is your little bro, John. Roll VT. Roll it right now.
Oh, fuck that!
Miss, see, I rule.
Sorry, Sean. You're not a ninja. But you're still cool. Just ask your brother for help next time.
Yeah. What would I do without him?
Hey, don't look at me. It's not my fault if you can't throw.
Woo!
Okay, so now I want to talk about Daniel specifically.
Okay.
Is Daniel at the point where he's too unbearable? How did you guys find, reading the comments, looking at sort of what the community is saying about this episode, overwhelmingly, it seems like everyone enjoyed it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
It's been
it's a
my
good one.
favourite episode by a long way.
Yeah, big time.
But what people seem to be taking away from it is that they just can't with Daniel. He's just. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he's the definition of, I think we call a little shit. With his creepy mannequin face and his being, and he's coming around to teenhood, and I think he's sort of age appropriate, age typical.
Yeah.
Being just a little jerk, but then you have to couple that with his murderous superpowers. I think he's all kinds of bad right now. But when you ask the question, do you mean he's been written too annoying for the game, or is it more a question of just how did you find his character?
I guess I mean in universe, because I definitely feel like the game is making us find him unbearable.
Yes, sure.
But how did you react to that when you were playing? Were you how angry were you at Daniel when you were playing, or were you pretty chill about it?
I actually wasn't angry with him at all. I felt frustrated that so much had come between us, especially since at the end of episode 2, Aoife and I we were nailing it. We're he is as good a kid as we can make him right now. We feel like we've made all the right choices. He enjoyed his little present. It didn't break the bank. We didn't steal it.
Oh man.
He used
to be good.
He's been really, he's been a good kid, and then all of a sudden he's angsty Anakin Skywalker.
Oh my god,
And
yes.
that was a bit much. And The thing I thought about him was, like, because obviously he's wearing a bandana and he wants to learn how to throw a knife like Finn. He's not wearing the watch, he's wearing the bracelet.
Yeah.
He's got growing pains because he's trying to assert himself as, like, his own personality, but he doesn't have the confidence to do it, so he has to ape somebody else's. He's frustrated that his brother's not closer to him, so he tries to be Finn. Obviously, Finn's the worst role model because he's a cult leader, and it's a narcissistic thing that he's encouraging him so much. Finn is like, here is somebody that is like, that idolizes me, so I'm going to make him more like me just to prove how cool I am, that I'm so cool with this kid. He's just hanging out with himself. And I just don't, basically, I feel like Daniel is too young and too he's just ill-equipped to deal with those kinds of pressures. So he sort of becomes a nobody who yells.
I think the problem is that Daniel is becoming undisciplinable. Like, there are a few points in this episode where Sean gives him the hard Paddington stare and is like, listen, we've still got a long way to go. Like you're I love you, you're my brother forever, but you're being a little bit of a brat about this, or something as akin to that. And Daniel's just like, well, instead of responding to that, how about I lift this tree trunk out of the lake?
Why am I listening to you? I've got telekinetic powers.
Yeah, and then later on,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. There's a really, really telling bit of dialogue where Daniel says something along the lines of, it's early on in the episode where they're talking about where they're going to go, and Daniel says something like, why do you get to decide where we go? I'm the one with powers. And it's like, whoa.
That's a red flag. That's a massive red flag.
There were some big red flags this episode.
Giant ones. The bit, I think, is towards the end where he's like, this is all your fault, Cassidy. Like, out of nowhere. It's right during the heist, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all your fault. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, I suppose it's implied that it's like jealousy because they've been hanging out so much and all the rest. But I mean, having never raised how old is he supposed to be? 9?
I think he's 9. I think it's 9.
10. Yeah. I don't know how much of it is growing pains and pre-puberty, and how much of it is sign of like poor character to be like lashing out and like blaming. I mean, I guess we have to be generous and say like everyone's basically a dick when they're like 9 or 10 years old. But
absolutely.
They want to be with the older kids.
And kids naturally push boundaries for sure. But most parents are in the position of being able to say like that was too far. Go to your room, because they have the upper hand. They have the moral.
And
I suppose if it comes to it, you can physically pick up the 9-year-old and put them in the room and stuff. But or like you can carry them out the supermarket if they're throwing too much of a tantrum. But I think Daniel has completely clocked that he can just be like, explode everything.
What's he going to say? Go to our tent while I finish this bifter? Like, it's not going to happen. Although on the topic of undisciplinable.
Yep.
Yeah. I do want to come back to that in a bit, because I kind of feel like we were railroaded a lot during this episode.
Okay,
I think that's fair. Yeah.
All right.
And it's a very short episode as well, so I think that's a choice there that everyone had quite a similar experience of that.
Clumsy by Fact says that Daniel is a brat with too much power. Darth Lividus says, proper parenting or sexy times? You decide. Yeah,
that's life, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't it ironic that one leads directly to the other?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think, that's a big theme of Life is Strange too, isn't it? It's like, do you want to do the thing that is fun and that you want to do, or do you want to do the responsible thing for Daniel? So I think that this was a frustrating episode in the sense that I've been making the responsible choices all the way through, and still Daniel is like force choking me and sort of like the point at the end where you're like, okay, let's talk about this adult, or at least teens in the room, so we're all agreed we won't go through with the heist, and Daniel's just like closes the door open and immediately like gets everyone in terrible trouble.
/ possibly killed.
While we're being down on Daniel, like, I've got to say that I've really, there's been a real gradual like warming to Sean. I think he's really sweet, and he's doing everything right. Like, I mean, I suppose it depends how you play it, but like he's a way better parent than could be expected of how old is he? 16, 17?
Yeah.
Like, he's grown up, obviously. He's had to grow up.
I think he's absolutely storming it.
Yeah,
he's doing
really
a great job.
Yeah, and I
a champ.
really care about him as a character. I think he's very sweet.
And I
the real
think
MVP.
the frustration that you see at the camp throughout the episode it's very humanizing because it's a callback to the flashback you have at the beginning, where they're with their dad and they're having that argument, and it's basically just like that's what happens when two kids who are close in age and almost too similar are cooped up together too long. They start climbing the walls and getting at each other, and then it's the same thing, but he's simultaneously he's being the bigger brother, so he is frustrated and he's getting that aggression like directed at him, but he's also having to be dad, and it's an impossible situation. You know.
Yeah.
Here's a comment I really like from the one who snacks says, could you shout out my amazing girlfriend Camilla? For Daniel, the second blow-up mirrors the catalyst of the dad's death, and Daniel now realizes that he caused the original death of the cop. I like that because I'd completely forgotten that Daniel in episode 3 still doesn't know what happened, doesn't remember what happened, I'd forgotten that we were keeping the details of
because
that.
Because some of it has come to light and he does know some of it now.
Yeah.
But I mean that's a great point that he can make that connection.
That's heavy.
Mark Little says, I fully hated Daniel until the scene where Sean was too wasted to share his worst memory, and Daniel talks instead about losing everything, including his best friend, his dad, and my heart broke for him. He does mention mushroom as well, which was a bit sort of like, oh. Yeah.
Is that right? You can get too drunk to share your worst memory?
I think so, but like I took the drugs when they were passed round.
What?
Ooh.
In front of your little brother?
We work on a weed farm.
I know.
Never get high on your own supply.
Yeah. Well, I could see it. I could see it coming. The game was going to be like, "Do you want to take a hit?" And then, "Are you going to let your brother?" I mean, obviously, you're not going to let your brother. And it's like, I've literally just taken a hit. How can I not be a hypocrite and say none for you? And he's like, "Why not?" And you're like, "Because you're 4 years younger than me, or 5 years, or 6 years, or whatever."
Yeah. I know what you mean. Producer John could ask for just, or maybe Mike and Ellen at the back could ask for just an audit on the sound levels from someone who's a bit further away, because if it's all fine, then that's good. Yeah. But some people are saying it's a little quiet. Some people are saying it's so that we're slightly
just checking in on the sound.
Just checking
in
on the sound. But let us.
It's in progress.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can get too stoned or drunk to share your memory rather than.
That makes sense.
Because for me, it was a choice. Was it a choice for you? Like, do you want to share your worst memory or do you want to keep stum?
That was a choice.
Okay.
And but also, I think, because I guess there are degrees of getting wasted around the campfire as well, because the joint goes round.
Yes.
And there's a bong there, and you've also got an open beer.
Yes.
So I think, you can get pretty,
Yeah, apparently two beers gets you wasted.
Oh, little
Lightweight.
Sean.
Wow, the chat is not impressed with me for taking the weed.
Wow, taking the weed.
Taking the weed.
You're a weeder now, Luke. There's no going back.
I did a weed.
Oh, no.
I did a weed, and now my brother exploded everyone.
It is quite cute. If you don't take it, you wouldn't have seen this. I think he goes, "No, I'm good," and goes to pass it, and Daniel's like, does this weird
and you go,
motion?
"No," and he's like, "I was only joking."
Yeah, but you could tell he's
like you were joking.
It's bloody hilarious.
If you look behind you, there's a bunch of pine cones, and you could just huck them on the fire. And I was like, "That's exactly what I would be doing." So yeah, that's fun. I didn't share my worst memory because Finn is a cult leader, and there are. Mike says the sound.
Mike says the sound all right. Cool.
It seemed like a very culty thing to do, to collect everyone's worst memory to use against them.
Yeah, that is a leverage thing, isn't it?
And then he's like, you know what? I don't have any worst memories because I live my life without regrets.
Oh my god!
Am I blowing your mind?
I forgot about that. Oh, I hate him so much. That is such an unfair thing to do to people, and it's so disingenuous.
Yeah. Yes, now you remember.
Finn wins the award for most strangleable video game character.
Oh yeah. Is Finn alive in your playthroughs?
Well, I mean, as far as I know,
but he didn't get shot dead by Meryl.
Oh, gosh,
he didn't get shot dead.
No.
No.
Same. But now I'm like,
I wish he'd been shot dead by
a little bit. Like a bit.
But I bet it would make Daniel really unmanageable.
Yeah.
He's like, he was my real brother.
I want to dread my hair. Yeah.
No, Daniel. This is where we draw the line. Kill everyone with powers if you must, but you are not dreading your hair, young man.
You are neither Celtic nor are you Afro-Caribbean. You shall not be doing that.
Shall not be doing. Alex Samara says that they're on #TeamHateFinn.
Yay! I feel like that's a sort of a similar team to hashtag Team Not Warren.
Yeah.
Are you on Team Not Warren?
Yeah, 100%.
Great.
I can't stand
I
Warren.
knew I could trust you. Little
Good.
creep.
Yeah, man, Warren. We don't have time to get into the Warren situation. All right.
Not that rabbit hole.
I think we're ready to move on to discussing in excruciating detail everyone else in the camp. So, John, roll that VT. Roll it.
Hey, what's up?
Just waiting for your ass? It's your party, dude. That looks like a big Joe bruise. So come on. What the fuck did you guys do?
Yeah, okay.
Uh-oh.
We
There
were
it
just
was.
refreshing ourselves on who everyone
Yeah.
was. So, who do we have in the camp? We've got Hannah.
Jacob.
Jacob.
Jacob is in the plaid shirt. He's the one who came from a religious background. I think he's very sweet and quiet, but he's probably going to go weird.
Oh, he's broken forever. He cannot handle what he's seen.
He's going to kill a lot of people before they finally catch him.
Oh no.
Before police marksmen finally catch up with him.
To be honest, I kind of just see him as one big flopping, like, religious red herring. Because after he was so, like, obsessed with the
flopping
power,
red herring.
and Sean was like, "Don't you dare make this and it's about him thing." Daniel was sat with him for ages, like, constantly, whenever we would move to a new place, we'd be like, "Brother, check, where is he? Is he still there?" He's still there. So's
It's
he.
misdirection away from the heist.
I think so.
Oh, that's clever.
Interesting, but he is nowhere near the heist in the end. So,
Yeah.
like, if there are any characters in the camp who I think are going to go on to sort of cause trouble in the future, I can see him going to the cops, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Especially after something goes down and there's been a big explosion, he'll be
yeah.
like, miss,
I need
know
to,
that the boy
I need
is
to
psychic.
save myself.
I have to tell all of the secrets.
Maybe he's just going to start worshipping
Jacob.
Daniel, starting a.
Oh
He's the cult
no!
leader.
He's
Oh,
gonna have an
no.
apostle. He's gonna be insufferable.
Jacob, the first apostle.
Jacob just there
the first
with
apostle
palm
of Daniel.
fronds.
Yeah.
Just three
Laying
of them,
them down.
like, grabbing the one at the back and putting it in front. Oh no!
Oh no.
At least Hannah, you know she hates you.
Oh, I like Hannah. I think she's cool.
I was actually a bit confused because, like, if you go through the journalist, I was like, "Oh, there's Hannah. Hannah hates me," and like he looks at her tense, like she can't stand me, like blah 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 blah. And then she walks past and she's like, "All right, she's not bright and breezy and friendly, but she's there topless. She's like, hey,
Yeah,
like she's comfortable around people,
She's
like
just not being smiley,
yeah."
sparkly for you.
And then she's
all
quite
right?
supportive of others.
Yeah.
She's a realist.
Yeah.
But
I warmed to her the second she's like walking through camp topless, and she's like, "All right, I'm off to the shower," and you're like, "Yes."
Yeah.
see, I think that set quite a high bar for her in my estimation.
Right.
And then
And
she
she
just sort of
failed to
like
meet
and then
it.
she failed to meet up because I just think, like, does she not notice that she ends every single conversation having to apologize, even if that conversation is only like 10 or 15
But
seconds
that felt
long?
really real, like really authentic. Like I didn't think that felt like an artificially unpleasant character. I
do
that
think
was a natural.
I think she was
unpleasant
really
character.
wrgame to be like
Yeah.
naturally unpleasant.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing the
Oh,
game.
right.
I'm
Oh,
criticizing her, the fictional
Aw.
character. I didn't like her at all.
Oh, man.
I just thought she was just basically sort of unsympathetic and unkind.
I
And
think she's basically how I would be if I had to live in a woods, which is irritable and
so
kind of
irritable.
grumpy and sarcastic all the time.
but also
because
completely
kind
unwilling,
of a hot bath.
completely unwilling to not live in the woods.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's the thing.
Well,
And she's so like, I think the thing that annoyed me about her is the way that she just seems to be accusing everyone else who's there of
Yeah.
just being like a sort of poser or an amateur, or like, oh, what? So you've lived in the woods with your baby brother for a few months, and you think you're cool. You think you're one of the real hardcore hippies.
maybe I'm
I felt like-
misremembering her.
do you remember? Did you catch the conversation where she's giving the European traveling couple a hard time?
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, did you not?
I
Oh
didn't
my
get
gosh.
that,
Okay,
so that
right.
might have changed
Yeah.
my opinion.
Here
You
we
know what?
go.
I might actually try and find that clip so that I
Okay.
can play it in my playthrough.
Well, in
so
the meantime,
talk amongst
I'm gonna
yourselves while I
say
track it down.
I liked her when you're in the room trimming the weed buds.
Yeah.
And I like Cassidy. I think she's she's lovely and earthy and
Yeah.
and so charming.
Yeah.
But that bit in the weed room where she's like constantly stopping working, like, my ass is sore, work is hard. And I'm like, there's a man with a gun over there. Like, we've
Yeah.
all signed up to do drug work, so let's just do it. And Hannah's like, would you shut up, princess, and just get back to work?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I'm like an idiot, I put myself in the middle of it. Because, you can obviously,
Oh,
you can choose to
yeah.
say
Oh,
something or
crap.
the other thing,
Yeah.
or you can say nothing. I think the correct thing to do was say nothing. But like a dumb gamer, I was like, got to choose something like against the clock, and I chose.
We're all friends here.
Yeah, there's no reason to get in the way of that conversation.
I appreciated, in fact, how many points there were in this episode where saying nothing was a viable option.
Yes.
The thing I like about it is that it makes the choice for you, because if you can't decide what to say between two things, then it times out and you say nothing, and you're like, oh, actually, to be fair, if I couldn't think of something to say in that time, saying nothing is probably what I would do in real life. So it kind of works. I've got this clip of Hannah now. If you want to watch it. So all right, John, switch us over.
We see so much trash.
Okay, so yeah, so yeah, they're having this chat.
Green, but starting to look like shit.
Not everybody has time to fucking recycle or compost their shit, especially when you live off the grid.
We all should try. It's everybody's planet too.
Sweden is not perfect, but we try to be more eco-conscious. We only have one planet.
Tourists talking shit again. Like you guys have it so hard.
We did not say that we did.
Tell me again how many hours you spent on a plane during your awesome trip around the world, and then you come crying about hobos spreading garbage in the forest?
Good point.
Now you're here sponging off us trash on an illegal pot farm with a tourist visa, lecturing us.
I think that's all we need to see there. So yeah, so just I just felt like felt like she was giving those two a really hard time. They're only making conversation, and what they're saying is, obviously valid. Like maybe there's obviously a little bit of hypocrisy in the fact that they flew there, and you know that they're trying to lecture people on being moved to the planet. But like literally anyone who ever says like, hey, we should be environmentally conscious could be labeled a hypocrite if you pointed to the fact. But like anything that they do in their life, I don't know. That was the point at which I thought she just doesn't seem very nice. I just don't like her.
I think it's not uncommon among. I'm going to sound like I'm really generalizing here, but of like all of the people I know who could count as hippies, like it's kind of a thing where like they will throw over social convention to jump down people's throats about an issue and just be like, no, but here's the thing, like yada yada yada, and it's almost like it's such an integral part of them that they just need to get it out. I guess like my question with Hannah is like whether when she apologizes for being snippy or weird or nasty to people, whether she's doing it because she genuinely feels sorry and vulnerable in that moment, or whether she's doing it as a way to just legitimize her behavior, be like, well, I apologize, so, and it's not going to stop her doing it again, I guess.
And because she's a bit part like a small character, it's quite hard to make that like appraisal of her. It could go either way, I think, with the evidence you're given. Yeah. And also, like, I hadn't seen that bit that you just played, actually. And yeah, that is a dick move. But, you have people who are like annoying or irritable, grumpy or, off colour or whatever. And it's not really about the thing that they're talking about at all.
No.
Like, there could be all kinds of stuff going on with her.
I completely respect that. She doesn't appear to me to be doing too much work on herself. I'm not sure how much responsibility.
Quite hard to self-care when you're living rough in the forest outside a weed farm. But okay, all right.
Her tattoos are bad. There, I said it.
Oh well, there we go.
So many face tattoos in that camp.
A lot of face tattoos.
I know you've decided you don't need 9-to-5 jobs anymore, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, face tattoos.
Also,
not great
Finn's
ones.
chin line is pretty cool though. Like,
do you like that?
It works for him.
I have to say, I quite like that.
Not the little chucks under his. Whatever they are, I think they're stars or something under his eye.
Yeah,
but the little,
You like that?
I'm alright with that.
Everyone in the chat is having a go because I didn't realise that during that conversation we just played, you can help peel potatoes, so you can sit there and be helpful and contribute, as opposed to my Sean, who's just sort of like standing there stretching.
I'm judging Hannah.
Yeah, I'm just judging
Hannah.
I'm just judging all of you.
Yeah.
So sorry, chat for letting you all down there.
Yeah, Luke. What are you too stoned to peel a potato now?
That is the theme of the conversation online. Clumsy by Fact says Hannah is a bit of a harsh character, but she has a point most of the time. I liked her character. I liked how her character was made in this episode. There you go. I really liked Penny.
Yeah.
You saying that
his outfit is his look, his whole aesthetic is so, to my eye, like so high maintenance for someone who's living off the grid. Like,
that's what's so amazing
it's like
about it.
Skinny jeans and the straps, and his. He looks so cool and put together, but like he just stepped off like the street somewhere like much more developed and urban than a weed farm.
He must be sweltering as well.
Yeah, those
like
super tight, skinny
All more
jeans
reasons
and-
to like Penny.
Oh,
Putting in the
full
effort.
commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, do you like imagine getting those jeans on in your tent late of a morning? Like I don't. No.
And they're still gummy from trimming weed yesterday.
Yeah, there's no laundry happening. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you said earlier that everyone basically stinks. So we can take it as read that everyone is filthy.
I imagine that, but like maybe there's a sort of earthy pleasantness to the smell, you know? Maybe if we were all to step away from showering and deodorant at the same time.
Yeah, body odor is an invention of pharmaceuticals, isn't it?
Finn really got in my head.
Yeah, should we? I mean, okay, so Finn just straight up.
Why are
stinks.
we even wearing
Yeah.
clothes?
He just stinks, but everyone's so used to it now that it's part of his weird cult thing.
Also, I bet the
Jacob
first time
smells-
someone says like, "Hey Finn, you don't smell good," Finn would be like, "I don't want to smell good. You only smell what society wants you to smell," and everyone else in the camp would be like, "Ooh."
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't
they would have
smell
eaten
smells.
Yeah, I don't smell
smells.
Jacob smells like really fresh sour sweat, like someone who's been on the
Ooh.
tube too long, and it's like, oh man.
No. I think Jacob still smells like fabric softener from home.
Oh no, you're right.
Fresh out
You're
the
absolutely
dryer.
right.
Jacob.
Cassidy smells like jasmine oil with a slight undertone of BO.
Patchouli.
Just enough there.
Definitely
Yeah,
patchouli in
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Penny smells amazing, probably, but like as just a natural musk.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a salon, you know, that sort of.
No, oh god, like no, like you know when you get in a car on a really hot day and it's like it got leather interiors. It just smells like really hot leather because he's just baking all the time.
Baking in that leather.
Who have we missed? The Swedish couple smell identical no matter what they smell like.
piney or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, they just
Yeah.
smell like pine.
I imagine they smell fresh, somehow of the ocean and the forest at the same time.
Yeah.
No,
and-
I like them, but I wonder, is it a thing? You go on like a around the world trip and then work on a weed farm? I mean, I get that kind of like working vacation, like we're paying our way, this is how we're going to fund the rest of our trip, but it's quite a risk, is it not, to
I
be
don't
that
believe-
far
yeah.
from home and
It's a bit
Well,
dark.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the game
Maybe
is
it happens.
the game
I
is
guess it
made
won't.
by French developers. I guess
Yeah.
lots of people watching now will be in the US, and I think we can authoritatively say that it's not like a thing
You reckon?
in Europe
Oh,
that you
right,
go
okay.
to. That you know, like obviously, of course, between a couple of school years, you go and work on a drug farm
but you might
to
like
find
pick
yourself.
strawberries in Kent or something, like
You might do, or like of course, you might travel.
Yeah.
You might take a van around the US or something,
Yeah.
but you probably wouldn't get embroiled in like a sort of low level, like the bottom rung of a cartel operation or something.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Seems
Outside my
pretty
experience.
like because you just wouldn't risk it because imagine if you got arrested outside of
that's
your.
kind of what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah,
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 that's all kinds of trouble.
It's really throwing that summer I spent picking and boiling poppy heads into new relief. Need to re-examine some of my life choices.
I thought it was weird that you were getting paid
Yeah, same.
just for all that gardening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I think we're ready to move on.
Okay.
So I think we've discussed all the players in the camp. I think. Did we leave anyone out? Because everyone needs to get discussed.
No, I
No,
think
I think that's it.
we got them all.
Oh, Hannah smells clean because she had a shower.
No. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's
yeah,
the
yeah.
only one who's
The one
worked
who
out how to
uses
do
the
it.
shower, yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next point then, John. That VT, do the thing.
I'm really glad I got to meet you, Sean Diaz. From that day at the market, I knew there was something in you.
Whoa, thanks. It's the same for me. I had hoped that we'd meet again. And we did.
Yep, don't believe in fate, but sometimes life sure does look a lot like it.
Okay,
There it
so
was.
I thought
Yes.
that it was nice in this episode that Sean finally gets to make a few decisions for himself.
Yes.
He gets to do a little bit of me time, as opposed to the previous few episodes, which have been entirely focused on keeping Daniel alive, keeping Daniel out of trouble. This was the first time we got to meet Sean, I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, that's a good point. I think that's why I'm warming to Sean so much, because we spent that much more time with him.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Aoife and I were still too much in the headspace of like Father of the Year. So we got all the choices to do things for ourselves, and we just didn't take them. We got a
Okay.
tattoo, and that's about it. We
Yeah.
went to bed. We didn't drink or smoke at the campfire. We didn't go skinny dipping, Aoife. Still mad about that. We
Haven't given it a second thought, John.
no, absolutely not. Every choice we made, we were like, what's the Daniel-centric one? And I wish we'd actually cut loose a little bit more. But you know, so
well,
it goes.
I mean, it remains to be seen. Maybe you're really playing the game, and you'll see the benefit.
Maybe
in another couple of episodes' time.
Could be. It might be that the final in the final decision, when I don't know, Daniel's holding a whole town and you over a cliff or something. He's like, "Remember when you smoked the weed?" And he'll let you both fall.
You shouldn't have become a weeder, brother. Crunch.
Yeah. All your weed couldn't save you from this.
No, but you're right. It is nice that you get those moments to sort of just have some self-determination.
Yeah.
I think. How wild did you go?
I got the tattoo. I didn't smoke or partake because I guess just because I thought it would be more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah.
Because you're literally doing it in front of your kid brother, and then you're going to have to tell him no, and it's that much harder if you're literally doing that same thing.
Yeah.
I think the difference between the tattoo and like the haircut, which I did get, was the tattoo is like it's not like an either or. It's not like go and spend quality time with your brother or get this tattoo. It's just an interaction. Whereas the haircut is like, are you going to walk your little brother to bed like you probably should as a responsible bro?
Yeah.
Or are you going to carve out some time for yourself? The thing is, I was really pissed at Daniel at that point because he'd just been like a why do we always have to do what you say? I'm a grown up now. I do what I want. And he's like, aren't you gonna walk me back to my tent? I'm like, I can see in this cutscene. I can see the tent. It's behind us.
Yeah, I'll see you go in it.
And then Finn was like, I'll walk you to the tent.
You
Stay away from my brother.
Finn. You
Stay away from my brother.
Finn.
The thing is, like, if you do go to bed with him, he's like, you didn't have to come, you know. It's like, well, I really felt like I did.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah.
It's that thing where whatever you choose in life is strange. There's always a little bit of dialogue that digs you for making the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter what you do.
That's tricky because I wonder. The nature of the game is that the developers have to have an angle or a perspective on what's not necessarily the right and the wrong option, because it's not like there's a karmic scale or anything. But if you decide to do something for yourself, are you going to pay for it later? And if so, is the game saying, to play this game the best, you have to deprive yourself? Well, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have a perspective like that.
I think there's always an element of sacrifice. Like, if you remember when you're in the diner with Chloe and you just had a lovely time, like, catching up.
Yeah.
And you've just eaten at the Two Whales. And then you get a call from Kate, and Chloe gets really mad at you if you answer, because she's like, I want you all to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes you have to push back and be like, no, this is something I need to do for me, for this person. It is an external factor that you need to consider.
I very much enjoyed your Chloe impression. So I went to bed at the same time as Daniel instead of staying up. But I have to say that was less a decision about wanting to be a good big brother and more a decision about not wanting to get my hair cut.
Stay away from my hair.
Exactly, because I mean, we've talked about this before for Jane, probably for too long, but here I go again. I thought that I really couldn't stand Sean's haircut in episode 1, and I was so relieved and happy.
Really?
I just didn't know.
It's just neat.
It was just like Lego hair. I don't know.
Like just because a neat young man with a
he was a neat young man.
haircut.
It looked fine. I don't know. It just needed a little bit more movement in it, is all I'm saying. But in episode,
texture. Get some product in there, man.
A little bit of matte clay kill you. Anyway, so and then in episode 2, it's got that like little bit of a wave, and it gets a bit longer, a bit more tangled.
Yeah.
And when I was looking forward to episode 3, I was like, please let it be properly sort of like living in the woods, killing for sport kind of length. And it was, and I was so delighted. So then the idea of getting a haircut. It's because it's mentioned earlier on. They're like, oh, we could get, we'll give you a haircut later. And we're like,
signposted,
not on your life.
Yeah.
Daniel, explode them all. If you see them getting near me with a razor.
I wonder, and maybe there was a visual clue at the end of the episode, but I wonder whether that's a permanent thing. As in, like, if you got the haircut, is he going to have that haircut?
I mean, sorry about it if you did get that haircut, because...
But I can't remember, because you only see him from behind and it's sort of indistinct.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it just resets at the start of the next chapter, because it's quite a visual like disparity to be like, you've got this hair or you've got this hair, and I think it is kind of like flash forward several months, isn't it? So whichever haircut, you've probably just reset.
Just to throw this in there, you guys are making a pretty big assumption that we are going to be playing as Sean in the next
I'm not
chapter.
Sure.
You mean the man walking away from the camera at the end of the episode? You don't think that's Sean?
I don't think it necessarily is. I don't know.
I kind of feel the same way.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. in my heart of hearts, I don't think he is dead. But like at the end of the playthrough that I have with Aoife, it's on the channel. Like we're both just like, are we dead? Did we just die? Because like catching a big thing of glass in
your eye,
one of your face holes is pretty big.
Yeah. All right, we'll come on to the face of everyone a little bit later. Roxison says going to bed with Daniel felt like the easy, obvious choice. He needed some affection and attention.
And he was like,
now I feel guilty.
He's like, I want to hear about the Wolf Brothers, but don't tell everyone else. So he's like, tell me a bedtime, and you tell him a bedtime story.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I just wanted to stay out with the cool kids.
Yeah.
Smoking your Mary Jane.
I thought Cassidy was going to cut my hair, and I thought, sweet, you know.
Does Finn cut your hair?
It's Finn.
Oh!
Did you not know it's Finn?
Nightmare situation.
Yeah, because it's a real bait and switch. Because Cassidy's the one that's like, we got to cut your hair, baby boy, and I'm like, yeah, you're going to put your fingers through my hair. It's going to be hot.
And then Finn's like, you're going to look how I want you to.
Yeah,
look.
and then Finn creeps up behind you with like.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that.
It wasn't quite as hot or as sweet as I had planned.
Annika Brock says, I'm fully convinced it was Daniel at the end. In the thing.
Man.
Kellenwood says, possibly dead.
Wow.
Although
what
Firelord Azai, who's been in the chat a lot, says he's going to be Solid Snake now, which I take to mean it's going to be an eye patch situation.
I mean, that would be pretty damn cool.
Wouldn't it be like Star Wolf? Star Wolf's got an eye patch. Can't let you do that,
Star Fox. You could be the Star Wolf to Daniel's Star Fox.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now Daniel's on the run, not just from the law, but from his brother.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that would
Can't
be
let
pretty
you
rad.
do that, Daniel.
The government rebuilds Sean with a cybernetic body.
He's the only one who can hunt down little Daniel.
Only you can bring in your brother.
Yes.
It's like, I know how to, I can think like him.
Cyborg, bounty hunter, Sean.
Yeah, and
yes.
episode 4, it's an FPS. It's
That's
like Titanfall 2.
That's why the episodes take so long, because they're desperately trying to make some more time so they can develop this next-gen FPS.
Yeah, 18-hour single-player campaign. Robo
Sean. Oh, man.
Robo Sean.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, right. What's the next thing on our list to talk about? Actually, before we move on, so speaking of choices that Sean gets to make, he obviously now gets a sort of romance choice as well. I think, Johnny, you were obviously denied your romantic entanglement.
Yep.
I thought it was a little bit of a shame that they kept the sort of the smooch with Finn sort of gated behind what I felt was quite clearly the bad choice in the story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not what I expected.
Yeah.
I thought it would be like a sort of Mass Effect style, like, here is the space for a romance bit.
Yeah.
But you choose who goes in that moment, you know. I didn't think it would be like, you can smooch Cassidy here, or Finn over here right at the end of the game, having made like quite a bad decision. So I that's not what I expected at all. I thought it was just like, at the moment, you like, even that you go skinny dipping with Finn instead of Cassidy or something.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of swappable character.
Yeah, that kind of BioWare, like, we've animated this one cutscene and we drop anyone into
exactly.
it.
I thought it would be that, which I suppose in a way is a kind of cooler, more natural approach to not just any character is swappable in this moment.
Yeah, it's nice that they're sort of tailored to one another.
Yeah.
And I do think it gives the decision a little bit more weight, because like a big part of why I didn't want to do the heist was that like Cassidy is vocally against it. But like when it's being mooted as a possibility, like, shall we do this?
She's a sensible girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sort of played into my decision.
Yeah.
As well.
To be honest with you, when I saw the end results and I was like, oh, you can kiss Finn, I was like, you must have had to agree to the heist. Like, I just sort of figured out that's just where I felt like it naturally would be.
Yeah, Finn wouldn't. There's no way Finn would smooch you unless you were doing his plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, but it could have come earlier, and like, he's just finished cutting your hair, and like,
if you want to kiss the bad boy, you've got to do the worst thing possible.
Yeah.
Steal from a thing with your brother.
Simple bad boy rule.
Exactly.
Claire T says, yes, I would have gone for the smooch with Finn if you hadn't had to make the idiotic choice to get it.
There you go, Claire. Yeah.
His style of flirting was like quite nice, to be honest. Like, it was flattering without being like overbearing. You know, like I think at some points Cassidy was pushing it a little bit hard. Like when she first gets on the truck and she's like, "Hey, birdie," and it's like you are using the fact that everyone is living like free and easy in this camp to be very overt in a way that, like, for me, I was like, that's a wrong pick for him. Like you are forcing him back into his shell a bit. 'Cause he's like,
also when you come out the tent after sleeping with Cassidy, and you know, Sean's sort of all in his head about it, and he's a bit sort of sulky and not very happy. Someone comes up to them in the group and says like, "Do you guys just have sex?" And Cassidy's like, "Yep." And I'm like, oh man, could have done a little bit of eye contact with Sean and be like, are we sort of telling everyone
people about this? Yeah.
I don't think there's any telling at that point.
I mean,
like, it's in a one-man tent.
To be fair, it's in a tent that is lit from the inside, and there's there's a fireplace where everyone's sat 4 feet away. Yeah. So I think everyone knows what's going on there. But it made me think of that when you mentioned Cassidy being just like a little bit more. Whereas actually, like this, I mean, it wasn't a choice I did, but I've seen it on YouTube since. Like if you do the kind of flirty romance and the smooch with Finn, I feel like Sean is a little bit more like at ease and maybe a bit more proactive in the conversation choices there. He's kind of a bit, you know, he's just a bit. It's quite chill, basically.
Interesting.
It's nice. It's nice.
Interesting.
Is it possible to smooch both? Not that
I don't think so, because Cassidy won't smooch you if you want to do the heist.
Of course, because you're being silly.
It's like, what you want to send your brother out to steal from those thugs with guns? Well, I guess let's go skinny dipping.
You know what? This puts me in the mood to do.
Skinny dipping. Nothing I like more than a pre-heist swim.
Here's something interesting. Jazzy Griffin says, I didn't romance anyone in the hopes that Lila becomes a love interest. Don't know what's happened to Lila. Honest to God.
Is Lila gay, I thought? Have I misremembered? There was like a very little...
I don't think it's necessarily confirmed either way, but I kind of feel like that's a vibe I got as well.
It's a vibe I got. Yeah. I can't remember if there was like a little bit of flavor text somewhere that kind of hinted that way. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over
you're right.
you.
I think there might have been, or as you say, it may have, but I can't. But now I honestly can't remember what it would have been.
I mean, she's extremely lovely and cool and like a super good friend, and if it was an option, I definitely would have.
Absolutely.
Held on for that, but I guess I didn't think of that. So.
You only get to spend 10 minutes with her at the start of episode 1, so the simple fact that everyone cares so much about her is phenomenal. It's really good setup.
It's proved that they introduced a very like compelling character very quickly. Yeah. But I don't. If I had to put money on it, I would say she's not going to come back in a significant way. I feel like they accidentally made too good a character. And basically it was all just set up for the decision at the end to like, are you going to throw your phone away? Oh, but you can call her in episode 2, can't you?
Yeah, but she can be in like a
That's
dreadful
true.
state.
If you don't call her in episode 1.
Yeah. She can be in like a clinic.
She's in a facility, isn't she?
Therapy or something like that.
But like, again, me and Aoife being like goody 4-shoes, we didn't call her and then we didn't call her again.
I didn't either. I really regret it.
Nothing from us. And it's sad because I'm like, she's a great character, and I feel like I'm depriving myself of like contact with a great person. But
well, you speculated the other day, Luke, that maybe not all the story decisions are made at the outset of like episode 1 of the season, and because there are so there's, I mean, I have no idea how these episodes are made. I don't know like about the inner workings.
I'd be fascinated to know
if they can respond to fan.
Well,
opinion.
I mean, I think it's probably fair to say that, for example, by the time episode 2 was released, they were already a long way into working on episode 3, because it takes a long time to make a game, even like short installments like these. But I do wonder if there is opportunity, because there's such a big gap between them coming out. Is there a little wiggle room for the devs to be like, okay, turns out actually everyone hated this, or everyone loved Lila. But like, who knows? Maybe that phone call option in episode 2 was sort of hurriedly programmed in. Like, get some lines of code in for get the Lila voice actor back now. Who knows?
There is, simply put, like there is that wiggle room.
Interesting.
We interviewed
Johnny has the answers.
Michelle Coe last month, I want to say. So we sat with him and played through the opening scene of episode 1. Of season 2, and then like the hotel confrontation stuff. We were talking to him about stuff, and like I think at the time they were done pretty much on episode 3. Season 4 was a good way through when they were also just sort of spinning up on episode 5. So I don't know how much of it is written, but like an example he gave us was just how much Hot Dog Man there is in Life is Strange. It was meant to be a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Hot Dog Man was only visible in the alternate timeline where Chloe's in a wheelchair in Life is Strange Season 1.
Oh, okay.
As like a figure on a shelf, and
Yeah.
also Max has a T-shirt with
Yes,
Hot Dog Man,
yeah.
Okay.
and people went nuts for him. So they were like, "Let's do more Hot Dog
Oh,
Man."
wow.
So when you're on the plane flying to San Francisco for the
Yes.
Everyday Heroes
art thing,
competition,
yeah.
she's like, "Oh, Hot Dog Man," and now he's he's a really big
yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a thing where they were like, "Here comes some fan momentum. Let's switch a thing."
Okay.
Obviously, whether how much they would budge on a story thing, I don't know, but I'd be surprised if we didn't hear something about
It's
Lila.
tricky,
I
yeah.
don't know.
And how much do you want to respond to? I mean, you might start out with a vision for the character and the story, and like, how much do you just want to make the thing that everyone is asking for, and how much do you want to make the
Yeah,
thing that
I
you
wouldn't.
set out
I wouldn't want to
make?
play Life is Strange by committee. You
No.
know,
Oh,
like
God.
I love talking about it, but don't nod if you're watching. Like, disregard everything we're saying.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
don't do what
We
you're
don't know
doing.
what we want.
'Cause we
Warren
love
would
it.
Give us
still
what we
be in
want.
it.
Yeah.
You can't trust people.
Yeah, exactly. We're not. Yeah, we're not.
It might make a difference to like a finale montage right at the end of the season where they're like, oh, don't forget, add in a bit of something or other with Lila. A little cut scene in a montage.
Yeah.
Here's Lila. It makes me think of Stranger Things. Remember
Yeah.
with Barb?
Barb,
And they
lovely
were
Barb.
like, she's dead. And the fans were like,
Barb! Yeah.
And then, I mean, obviously, yeah, they kind of leaned into that character again in the second season.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they sort of like wrapped it up a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they gave you something.
Yeah.
Which I think that was about right.
I'd completely forgotten that, unlike Season 1 and Before the Storm, we don't get those ending montages where it checks in with everyone. Do you remember, like, you would see Frank outside of his like trailer having a cigarette and staring at the sky, and Alyssa would be there just like contemplating how physics works, like quietly in a corner. You would just get a little check-in with everyone, and I loved that.
How's everyone doing?
And you just don't get it the same. Like, if there was a montage and it showed like Brody still like driving down the highway, like
What's he up to?
Here's me.
Let's check in with Brody.
Yeah.
He's writing his blog.
Yeah.
Oh, his terrible blog. It's awful.
Oh,
blog.
you should be able to check his blog every episode.
Oh, spare me.
Mate, you don't look like him. Do you have any idea how many people are like,
Johnny.
lol? We still get comments being like, lol, it's him. Look at Brody.
Oh, well, I
better not you thinking this guy's a stalker. Like, I just like sweep my hair back there, like, here I am, it me, Brody. But anyway.
Sean Hayes says, ABC, always be calling Lila.
Oh,
There you go.
she's so good.
Yolanda MDNA says, I want to see Max and Chloe again so bad. Yes,
I'm kind of
correct.
cool with never seeing them again. Like, I know that sounds harsh, and because I love those characters, but like, I feel like I saw as much as I wanted to with those two, and I feel like if I saw more, it would just be like overkill.
You feel like less,
Yeah.
I think that's a smart decision. I think that's knowing what's right for you.
Okay, all right. I think we're ready to move on to talking about the big one, folks, the ending.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
let's do it.
Here we go.
Hit us, John.
Wait!
Stop! No.
It's over, Anakin. High ground. Oof.
Okay, my first instinct when I saw that,
Yeah.
because that was a bit of my capture, was, oh no, I made the absolute worst choices possible.
Yeah.
I was flooded with relief when I went on YouTube and found out that actually, basically, they're all bad.
Yeah.
They're all bad endings. I was so relieved because I encouraged Daniel to use his powers in that
Yes,
last
same.
instance.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, you don't. No one wants to say that the best possible ending is the one where the 9-year-old boy gets shot, but it is. It just is. Like, Finn's not dead, as far as we're aware, unless Daniel just killed him.
Yeah. The only way my ending could have been better, though, objectively, as if I'd gone for the heist, then Cassidy wouldn't have been in the room, and Cassidy, Cassidy just wouldn't have been present.
Yeah, I wondered how that worked, because in the results screen, it's like Cassidy was hurt or Cassidy wasn't hurt. I was like, how does she not get hurt? And of course, it's
if
good
she's not there. And if you take the gun, then Daniel won't get shot.
Yes.
So,
but he still does that. Everything.
Yeah.
It's just a shoulder graze.
At
Boy's
that age,
fine.
Yeah.
It's just but a flesh wound. Yeah.
Also, like that seems like you could have had a slightly marginally better result by doing two bad things, like very bad things.
Yeah, exactly. This sounds harsh. I would rather Cassidy was injured, but got to smooch me. Got to smooch me.
Wow.
No, but didn't have her friend make the bad choice and like go for the heist or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really loved that sort of last bit of build up where you're kind of stealing the truck with Cassidy.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And actually, like, I liked Cassidy beforehand, but the bit where you're working together at the end to try and sort of get everything back on the right track, that was sort of cemented her as like she's not just a good talker like Finn, like her heart's genuinely in the right place.
Because for all that she's like, yup, we just had sex, and like she's kind of, she's not insensitive to the way Sean is feeling at that point. Like, she does still come along when she doesn't have to. She could just be like, I'm out. I can keep my hands clean of this.
Yeah.
But she does. She goes along. She helps you steal a truck, and she gets into it as deep as anyone else, and that's big. I think
so. And she, by doing so, she burns all those bridges with Finn and with the farm, and it's her source of income. And she's been riding the rails with those two, with Finn and Hannah for a long time. So yeah, as you say, it's a pretty massive spur of the moment commitment to doing the right thing. Capital T R. Yeah. T R T. Sorry, I didn't mean too long. Coin to Blue Jay says, "This sounds really harsh, and I kind of hate myself for saying it, but maybe Daniel getting shot will finally teach him to be more careful."
That's hardcore.
Sounds really bad when you say it out loud. But comment to Blue Jay, I sort of know what you're going for.
It won't change a thing. I mean, it won't change his attitude.
If a 9mm round in the shoulder doesn't change his outlook, then nothing will.
No, but I think maybe we're in that spiral now. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't see it being a real teaching moment for him.
So what do we think is the status of everyone? Do you there's in the sort of info screen, we get a hint that Cassidy and Finn are injured.
Yes.
Rather than like dead.
Well, I mean, it's like Finn can be dead or Finn cannot be dead.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes, Finn can be dead.
Cassidy can be injured or not injured.
Yes. But it doesn't say dead.
No.
So I think I can confidently say that Cassidy wasn't killed in whatever happened.
I agree.
Yeah. What about Sean?
I assumed. I mean, it looks bad. It looks real bad. But I took that to be a deliberate kind of a bit of trickery by the developer to be like, we want it to look so bad that you think he could be dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, it honestly didn't occur to me that he could be. But having heard you say just now, like, what if that person at the end of the episode isn't Sean at all? Now I'm second guessing. I mean, maybe it could be a double bluff, and he could be dead.
There's also the voiceover though at the end of in that same teaser where it's a guy talking menacingly, being like, "We've got a lot of jail cells for cop killers like you."
Oh gosh, yes, you're right.
But anyone like in law enforcement would think that Sean is a cop killer as well.
Yes, this is what I mean. I think if I had to put money on it right now, I would say Sean is in hospital and they've worked out who he is and the police come to his bedside. And Daniel is...
Otherwise, who are they talking to?
So it could be Daniel walking down the road, but you're still primarily playing as Sean.
Oh, that would be really interesting if they separate them for the next episode. That would be a massive mix-up.
Yeah, I think that could happen, especially if, with all the signs pointing to us probably seeing Karen, their mum, at some point. Yes. It's a matter of when she comes in. Like, is she going to find Sean in hospital? Is she going to find Daniel? Are they going to become a dynamic duo?
Well, that's exactly what Daniel would do out on his own, because that's all he wanted. And Sean was like, I don't think
he won't stop reading the letter. He's probably memorised the PO box.
You're
somewhere.
right. You are. I'm pretty sure you're right. Like, if he was left to his own devices without his brother, that's exactly where he'd go. He wouldn't go to Mexico. He wouldn't go and try and rescue Sean. He would go and try and find his mom.
Yeah.
I think you might have hit the nail on the head there.
That, or he's going to tear the front of an entire jail off and be like, Choco Crisp, let's go. You promised you'd get me one.
Choco Crisp.
Choco.
It's just a vortex of Choco Crisp.
I'll burn the world for the Choco Crisp.
Choco Crisps.
President of Earth begging Daniel, what do you want? Choco Crisp. He's communicating telekinetically. He just puts the image of a Choco Crisp into the mind of everyone on Earth.
Yeah, they're going real weird with season 2, aren't they?
Yeah. Lauren Ritchie says the main purpose for the live chat seems to be judging Luke for all his choices.
No,
that's fine. That's fine. I mean, ever since the end of Life is Strange, I've felt completely comfortable having unpopular
being judged.
Being judged. I mean, yeah. Francisco Escuada says, I mean, Sean losing an eye could change things. It
does look a bit like that, doesn't it?
I think so. I think the hospital idea is a really, really strong one, because just looking at how much the glass is in his eye.
Yeah,
he's alive. He's not patching that up.
No.
On the road.
Can't wrap that in cling
Not
film.
field dressing. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he'll just
yeah.
Problem solved.
Jeez.
Easy. Just pop a lot of cotton wool in there, it'll be fine. Rinse it out with.
Someone, you noticed a comment earlier that in the flashback at the beginning of the episode, he says, "Man, I suck at perspective." Right?
Oh yes, that's right. I saw someone on Reddit point out that there are a couple of little foreshadowing moments. So, for instance, it's in the flashback. You look at one of your drawings, and Sean's like, "Man, I suck at perspective," and it's like, "Now you do, buddy."
Gonna miss that. What do you call it? Stereoscopic vision.
Yeah, sucks. And also, like the whole scene with the bullseye, kind of throwing.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Dang,
yeah.
That bullseye throwing scene. I think that was actually the point where I was most annoyed with Daniel, because when
the knife goes pinwheeling off in the wrong direction.
The toxic masculinity in that knife throwing scene was through the roof.
Yeah, no, my wife can't throw.
Yeah,
I'm Finn's coolest, buddy.
Don't even worry about it, buddy. Not everyone's man enough to throw a knife. You'll get it. Just keep your arms straight, man.
Wish there'd been an option to not throw the knife.
Start shivving Finn.
I could show you my footage. You throw the knife 3 times. Yeah. Every single time I turn the camera around to see if it's possible to throw it into Finn.
Amazing.
Can you imagine? But that's the only way to come out of that situation looking cool. Can you imagine if you were just like that?
How you like me now, Daniel?
How do you like me now, Daniel? I've just killed Finn. We gotta bounce. Cassidy, I've killed Finn. You coming with us? She's like, yep.
How wild would it be if just halfway through an episode the big choice was murder person, don't murder person?
Just from nowhere, just start having a chat, and it comes up like, kill them.
kill some of them, kill them all. Just kill Finn.
Well, if you get to play as Daniel, I wonder how much you'll be in his headspace, which is a lot less kind of rational and a lot more impulsive.
It's going to be the Force Unleashed 3 is what I'm thinking. They're going to just pitch Sam Witwer's voice up, and Daniel's just going to be like,
okay,
spin,
Choco Crisp.
Power bearer, Choco Crisp.
What else do we have to talk about with the big
about the ending?
With the big ending. So who's alive, who's dead? Can I just check what you guys chose? Did we all choose to ask Daniel to use his powers?
Yeah, I think you've got to intervene, right? Like, it's the right thing to do, and also as if you're going to hear the end of it if you let Finn get murdered, you know?
You're like, it's really important that no one knows you've got powers, so I let that guy execute another human being right in front of you.
Exactly.
Because I'm just looking out for you, bro.
It's a bit like the bit in the previous episode where your granddad is under a piece of furniture, and you're like, this is an example of a time we can use them. Meanwhile, he's using them to throw your knife aim and float pine cones. I'm like, you got to have some consistency.
I was pretty freaked out in the bit where you go and meet Daniel by the lake, and the first thing is like, okay, see if you can explode this mushroom, and he's like atomizes the whole tree trunk or something. Like, okay. Mr. Lenny Shelby says there is also a one-eyed teddy bear in Jacob's tent. So in
Jacob.
terms of other bits of foreshadowing, it's all Jacob's fault.
Yeah, somehow we've got to pin this on Jacob.
Yeah. Jacob.
Just over there making some Kool-Aid.
Here we go. Here's a question. Ash Does Theories 1 says, is Meryl still alive, though?
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, as in, like, it could be an ongoing thing, like he's coming after them, or...
Can I confess to feeling slightly bad for Meryl? Slightly.
I mean, you can. I wouldn't advise it. But
Okay, I'm going to say, look, maybe my empathy drive is just running a little too hot at this point.
It's the Life is Strange effect.
The Life is Strange. But it was the fact that he sort of said, it was like, guys, if you rob my safe, like, you have no idea how, like, that is going to impact me with the people I work for. Yeah. Obviously, Meryl can absolutely do one because he's employing a 9-year-old to work on his truck farm and he's waving a shotgun around. I absolutely hate him, but
it's like, if I don't do this, they're going to take my kids'
exactly. You look at the final scene, like that little montage, which I would love to play, except it's super licensed music, so really great music as well. And there's just like cash everywhere, like on the floor. Sure. And I was just watching that thinking like, well, I guess Meryl's family is dead.
Yeah.
You know?
I see. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I think he crossed the sympathy line for me when he was like, it's gonna affect my family, so I'm gonna have to execute one of you.
Yes, exactly. Like, it's not punishment. Yeah.
Like if it's like you all know too much, so I'm gonna kill one of you and let the rest of you go.
But here's the thing: in my playthrough, I didn't know that actually him executing someone was an option. I thought someone was gonna get beaten up real bad or something
with a shotgun.
Yeah, or maybe he would like fire the gun at your feet and make you dance around. I don't know. Or maybe he'd go through with it and then in the end it was a joke shotgun and a little bang flag came out the end and he was like, well, let this be a lesson how you should work hard and keep your nose clean. Maybe.
Daniel's already spun his head around like he did that cougar.
Did you kill the...
Hell no! But I've looked it up on YouTube. It's horrible.
Does he turn his head around?
He wangs it into a tree like...
he breaks its neck first.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly, it's like like at first it's looking at 6 o'clock and then it's just looking at 12 o'clock. And 12 o'clock, you best believe, is practically right into the camera.
I think Daniel's going to become a horror child.
Yeah,
like, a horror monster from a horror movie. Or like, do you remember Looper? Did you see Looper?
Yes.
Do you remember the little kid in it? And it's a I guess it's a spoiler, but it's kind of an old film. Like, it's a pivotal time travel thing where if he's traumatized enough by his mother's murder, he becomes this telekinetic monster mob boss in the future. So I feel like Daniel's on his way to becoming this telekinetic monster.
Oh God, what if the final choice is like whether or not to have mice and men your own brother?
Oh, they can't. That's so dark.
That's not the first time I've heard the idea.
Dark. Really?
It would be the equivalent of like he's the tornado, like heading towards Arcadia Bay, and it's
choose between your brother and whatever Arcadia Bay is.
I hope that's not the final choice, because apart from anything else, I already know what I would choose.
You would save your brother, wouldn't you? You'd save the telekinetic monster.
Yeah, he's family.
There's not enough Choco Crisps to satiate him.
He's family. It's family. That's like the end of the first game. These decisions don't have to be so complicated. Don't get sucked into the trolley problem thing.
That's so insanely dark, though. That makes the entire season a tragedy, like a tragedy through and through. Like nothing redeemable about it.
The thing is, though, if it ends that tragically, I think I'll look back and be like, well, how else was this going to end?
That's the thing. I was really I couldn't wait to replay season 1 until the final choice came up, and I was like, I guess I won't replay this then. Because it felt so binary. I wonder if there aren't multiple endings to season 2.
Yeah.
Don't know, but
it's all gonna pivot on the mother character. I think like that's gonna really.
And whether or not she has a gun.
Oh no! The end of the next episode is exactly the same.
Oh God! Shoot! Shoot, Daniel!
Okay, all right. I think we're ready to move on. John, let's move on to our 6th talking point.
We still have a long way to go, and we have to go together, right? I know it sucks, but you have to grow up now. Stop it! Stop it, Daniel!
Yikes.
Yikes indeed.
Yikes, Danny boy. What's going on with that? All right, Johnny, you wanted to talk about some feelings.
Yeah, I felt like we were railroaded too much in this episode. Like, it felt like too much stuff was like out of our hands in terms of the way he acted or didn't act. Like, he was ungovernable. Daniel specifically. I mean, like I said, Aoife and I were knocking it out the park. Like, Sean was having a miserable time, but Daniel was being a good kid, and now all of a sudden he's like, I'm gonna throw this knife around, and I'm wearing a bandana, and I can do what I want. Blows office open despite being on a stealth mission.
It's like you really dropped the ball in the month where you couldn't play the game.
Yeah,
you know, like what's changed in that?
Yeah, it just felt like the tone of the whole episode was dictated by a load of stuff that happened off camera, and I get that a lot of that has to happen because this game will advance in huge chunks, and therefore you have to embrace the idea that you're not always in control. But I just felt like the needle swung so far the other way. Maybe it's because we're trying to play it too virtuously. I'm sure there are going to be some people out there who didn't have a good time at the end of episode 2 and got the worst ending or whatever, and it makes a bit more sense.
That was a bad worst ending as well.
Oh yeah,
and and the decision for that was so trivial. I thought it was just like, are you going to let Chris think that he's got superpowers?
And also, there's a variable on that whereby if you've been too domineering with him, he doesn't obey you anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I just felt like so much that was really, really important, was out of our hands. I think when we were like, we're not going to do this heist. As soon as we'd said that, it was like, oh no, now we're just not going to be on the heist. I still enjoyed the episode loads because we got to stay in one place and do loads of great character stuff. But in terms of the decisions, I felt like our hands were being forced at just a bit too much for my liking.
I know what you mean. I suppose I do absolutely agree with you. Playing devil's advocate though, I suppose the situation that the brothers are in at the beginning of the game is so bad. And the fact that they're on the run and their dad is dead and they're homeless and they're in all sorts of traumatic danger, that I kind of feel like you can do your very, very best with Daniel, and I think we've all been trying to, but he's in such a bad situation. I don't think there's any realistic outcome where by the events of episode 3 Daniel is still a sort of trusting sweet little cinnamon roll.
And it might be that we had the best of a bad situation, because I didn't know this. I see a comment here from Ava. I've lost it now here. Ava the Queen 14 says he can also get jealous. This is a reference to Daniel. Jealous enough where he actually attacks Cassidy. It was so scary and frustrating. So maybe what we consider Daniel is just unmanageable, off the rails, just a punk kid.
Yeah.
And actually that's mild punk kid. That's just your sort of age-typical punkness. Yeah. Or he can be a psycho.
I agree. I think we have to put aside this idea that we are deciding whether or not Daniel is going to be a good kid or a bad kid, and accept that he's going to be a bad kid, and we can just move the needle a little bit within the sort of Daniel moralityometer.
Yeah, that's fair.
We've only got a little bit of wiggle room, bearing in mind his awful circumstances.
It was
potentially.
It was quite a clever bait and switch from the developers, because in the early days they sold it obviously before they could get into the details of you're going to be responsible for your brother, and you're going to teach him, and you're going to determine what kind of young man he becomes. And you're like, so whether he's a polite young man or whether he uses swears, and it's like you say, it's actually going to be is he a monster or just a wrong-un,
Yeah, or is he a monster you can save, or is he a monster you can't save?
Oh yeah.
I think it might come down to that.
Yeah.
Probably it'll all come down to whether or not you smoked a weed.
Almost certainly.
Yeah, it'll get to the end of the season and it's you smoked a weed.
You smoked a weed. Daniel explodes your head.
Tell us about the rabbits, Daniel. Calling it now.
Jeez.
Oh no. Okay, well, I mean, we already talked so much about other. Was there anything else to discuss? Oh yeah, there was something that I wanted to bring up. I feel like this episode has been far and away the best episode of Life is Strange 2 so far.
Yeah.
I would theorize that this episode proves that the drama on the road format is less compelling than a group high school-esque drama. I think the reason that this episode worked for so many people is because you're basically in high school, sort of.
I see what you mean.
You're in the woods. There are no walls or ceilings or teachers, but you know, there's like a group of teens. There's a lot of drama within them. There's the romance. There's the drugs. There's the poor life choices and the good life choices. There's the crusty old Dean and Meryl, you know,
drug Dean.
And I think if you're wondering why was this episode so much fun compared to episode 2, where you hang around with your grandparents in a small town
and you try and do therapy on Chris's dad.
Do therapy on a little boy and his irredeemable father. I think that is. I'm a little bit sad that we're moving on from this setting because I feel like I was finally getting the teen drama I crave.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
One of my gripes about Life is Strange 2, and after the second episode, for context, I was like, I think I might be done with this. Like, I'm just not feeling it in the same way. Like, if there's one thing I've noticed around Life is Strange 2 is that there's not as much buzz in terms of predictions and stuff, because it's impossible to tell. You're like, all right, where are we even going to be next time? So who might we meet? It's not going to be like, ooh, you know, is Victoria going to really try and mess with us next week? Or like...
There's not the same, like, whodunit mystery, murder mystery, missing person mystery.
And you can't have continuity between characters if those characters aren't there anymore. Like, what's Brody up to? Doesn't matter. The fact that it was static and it was very small town again, it was great. It was like, this is what Life is Strange is to me. I'm totally with you on that.
Okay, all right, I think we're ready to move on to the last thing to discuss. Here comes the clip.
This is it, son. You're toast. End of the road. No way out this time. We got a lot of room in jail for cop murderers like you. You're alone now. Alone.
We were just looking at that cutscene, as I'm sure you were, and trying to figure out, is it Daniel or Sean? It obviously looks more like Sean. To be Daniel, I think it would have to have had a growth spurt.
Yeah, as Jane just said, very leggy.
Yeah. But you know the way that Daniel sulky walks in episode 1 when they're walking on the side of the road and he's just like, I mean, obviously that's an exhausted, I'm in the burning hot desert. But I wonder if maybe it's a similar sort of.
Because there's a teaser image, isn't there, for the next episode where that's the sign in the cutscene is clearer, and that's where it says Nevada. Like Nevada, when I might say dead, James like, it says Nevada, right? So I think you're down there. This is the thing. I'm still not sure whether it's Sean or Daniel. It certainly seems more likely that it's Sean, but then that blows my fun hospital hypothesis wide open. So I don't really know.
I would say they very deliberately made it hard to distinguish. Which means it could go either way because they want you to, think it could go either way.
I have a strong suspicion that whoever we saw isn't the person that voice was speaking to. They're like, you're toast, this is the end of the line.
I think that's smart.
You're a cop killer.
They've recorded a voice line for a scene somewhere in the next episode, and that footage is from another scene, and to make the kind of teaser, they've put them together. And also I get the strong sense, like you say, that that's being addressed at someone else.
Sean waking up with an eye patch and going, my eye, and realising he's handcuffed to a hospital bed.
I can see it.
Feels like an opening second to me.
Yeah, and like we're gonna we have to bring your brother in, and we hear he's dangerous, and you're like, don't hurt my brother, he's just a little kid. And
leave him to me, I'll bring him in. Give me the cybernetic legs.
And the eye, cybernetic eye. The rangefinder.
And make him into a cybernetic wolf, like a visceral one. So it's just like,
you can go on all fours.
There it is,
Puertos Robos.
Amazing.
I really like this comment from Nikki Sharp, who says, I don't think we can change what Daniel does now. I think we are going to change the why he does it. I love that.
Ooh.
I immediately subscribe very much to your newsletter, Nikki Sharp. I think that makes sense, especially because it really seems like the brothers at this point are split up. It might be that all of the influence we have on Daniel has now happened.
We had our chance.
You had your chance.
Left your
you had a chance, and you smoked a weed. So game over, I'm afraid. Yeah, I do like the idea that it's going to come down to, like, why Daniel
Right.
does something, and if you raised him a certain way, maybe he does he does something bad for the right reason.
He goes to seek out his mother, and it's either like he's full of vengeful hate and resentment against not his mother, but he's
just a ball of
he's
anger.
gone wrong. Or he's seeking out his mother because he wants family and
Clumsy by
and
Fact
love.
says in the desert scene it has Sean's backpack.
Yes.
But Daniel would grab that as he
I mean,
fled.
yeah, the
Maybe.
flashback at the start of the episode showed us he's a thief. Like,
he's a thief. Unfortunately, he's just a bad.
That was such a great simulation. I assume, not having ever been a big brother, but a great simulation of being annoyed with your little brother. Like,
yes.
It's because it's such a small thing, but I was genuinely enraged. Like, I was like, I told you not to go in my room. It's so easy. Just don't go in my room. And he's like,
I thought your dad was crazy chill in that. Where you sort of like you break the trophy and he sort of separates you up, and then he sort of like sends you to your room, and then he's like, you got to do better than this.
Yeah.
I love you, son. Let's go to the cinema.
It's because the flashback is designed to be like, oh, my dad, he was great, not like
I
he wasn't always
I think
great.
I think it would have worked even better on me if it had just been like a sad memory, like of a time your dad had a go at you for not being responsible.
And you're not proud of how you handled it.
And you're not proud of it,
Again,
imagine if it had ended there and then you flash forward to without the sort of, and also like why just for the watch that he ends up like just so that this watch that he takes off is something has a small amount of sentimental value.
Not to name drop my best mate Michel Coe again, but he did say that they worried they'd made Esteban too perfect.
Aww.
So like but I mean he's still perfect and dreamy. So
completely
whatevs.
perfect.
Dream dad.
Dream dad. He's like, just let me fix this car, just hunkily over here.
It's for you, by the way. Pass me a wrench. Do you want some money? Are you
money?
going to spend it on drugs?
Here's 50
Here's
quid.
more money than I'd have given you if you lied. Have fun, kiddo. Give me a hug.
Oh,
You're the best dad.
Oh, Dad, I hope you never get exploded.
Oh,
wait,
no, I got exploded. Oh no.
Yeah.
Mark Little says, sorry, just copying and pasting what I've written above, but A, definitely Sean's backpack, and B, Nevada, aka Haven Point, where Jacob's religious commune was.
Oh, dang, Jacob. Jacob's in the mix.
Back to Jacob.
Jacob.
No, Jacob, why are you in the mix?
He's going to go full culty religious commune.
We like the grandparents one was basically a strict religious commune.
No, this is going to be weird. Jacob's going to be like, we must worship the boy.
The boy's going to be levitating constantly in flowing robes that are like 12 foot long.
Yes, he'll be kept in a big shed on the commune grounds or something.
The circle. It's going to be horrible. Oh no.
Oh man, that's a great show. It's Haven Point. It's Jacob's home.
The second season of what's the one with Jeff Daniels on Netflix?
Oh.
Do I mean Jeff Daniels? No, I don't mean Jeff Daniels. I mean, someone in the comments tell me what I mean. It's called like The Mistake or The Regret or The...
Oh, The Sinner.
The Sinner!
Oh,
The
yeah.
Sinner, sorry.
Yes. I know exactly where you're coming from. He's going to be like the weird little boy in The Sinner. Yes.
God, what's that guy's name?
And I mean the president.
Bill
Pullman. The best on-screen president ever.
That's a great shout, and also because Jacob is saying like, it was difficult for me and I had a really tough time, but I do miss them. And I think Sean, there's some reference to him like maybe going home and seeing his little sister because he misses them, and he's like, I don't miss the religious stuff, but I do miss my family. So he's going to feel the call and go home, but also his head's full of ideas about Daniel being this mystical.
I think he's had he's definitely had what he would call a religious experience. Encountering Daniel.
Well, doesn't he
for real.
say that? I was hoping for a sign. I was hoping for
a
something
sign
to bring my faith back.
And you throwing that ashtray with your mind was the sign.
You are certainly a 9-year-old boy with telekinetic powers.
Yeah.
That seems plausible.
Jazzy Griffin says William versus Esteban, who is the best dad?
Who versus?
William versus Esteban from the first game.
Oh right.
Yeah,
right.
Chloe's
You
dad.
mean your college fund?
William. I mean, they're both dream dads, aren't they?
Yeah. So many good dads, so many absent mothers.
Who keeps eggs by the door, Joyce?
Okay, I mean, I'm not interested in the mum. I don't care.
Really?
No, I don't. No, I don't. No.
No, why not? It's going to be to do with the powers, though. Like, and that's.
Might be, but it would be so like Life is Strange to just meet her and she'll be like, "Oh no, I just was, having a hard time."
Ooh, that would be interesting actually, like a bit of a red herring, because I've been assuming it all along, like the source of the powers. But then they never got to the, they never really pinned down the source of the. I mean, they did in a roundabout way, but the source of Max's powers was never really like the point of Life is Strange.
Yeah, it's not important. It's not important.
So maybe it's not important. Here,
they never confirmed whether or not Rachel had powers, and I 100% think she did. Like,
well, I wanted to believe that.
Maybe, speaking of Rachel and powers, I think this is a reason that I'm not interested in Karen, is because Before the Storm, which obviously comes from a different developer, I really feel just sort of like, I mean, it wasn't much of an itch for me, to sort of like to see that sort of thing tackled, but I feel like that has been done. So I don't really want Don't Nod to go over like those similar sorts of themes that we've already seen in the last game. Even though from Don't Nod's point of view, they're like, well, we didn't make that game. That's not us. That's not the full Life is Strange experience.
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, we're definitely going to see Karen for sure. I think. I'm not looking forward to it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do we know where she is? There's a PO box or something,
right?
Yeah,
I don't know where the PO box.
PO boxes are traceable to like cities or areas, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say she's not in like Nevada on the compound, is she?
That would be interesting. Oh God. Oh no. What if? Oh God. What if she's like? What if Jacob is like one of her 18 husbands or something?
Oh God. Oh I wonder. Maybe this is not for now because we're running out of time. But I wonder if we could look up the PO box number from that letter in episode 2. And
mail in a Choco Crisp.
But I mean, like,
send Choco Crisps or I destroy the town.
I just wonder if that PO box is traceable to the state of Nevada or the city of somewhere or other.
I'll tell you what, let me just, I don't know if you can actually see.
I don't know if that's how PO boxes work. And it might be like, in films where every phone number is like 555 something, because that's not really, a code. It might be something like that.
It says, the letter says you can reach me at this address. It's a PO box I use sometimes, but I don't think the address is in the letter.
It's not included?
I don't think, well, I mean, I suppose it is included in the letter, but like in terms of what you can see and read, I'm not sure.
I'm going to, when I get home, I'm going to bring up because we're looking at a transcript right now that's
just
you
want to look at the document.
I want to look at the document, see if it's got a PO box written on it, and if that PO box is related to a location.
Hang on, is this the letter here? I feel like this is the letter.
It is, but it's teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny.
Small.
Come on.
So small.
Come on, open image in new tab. Oh yeah, that's.
We're out of time. But is there an address on it though?
But it might. I don't know. But it might just be that that's just the image.
We're out of time for detective work.
We're out of time for detective work. So I think maybe just to wrap up, just any final thoughts on this episode?
Oh gosh. You go first, Luke. I feel like you've probably had a think about how you wanted to wrap this up. So, what do you think?
Well, I really loved this episode. As we've talked about, I think it was easily the best yet. I thought the choices were very difficult. I thought that it had all of the action beats that episode 2 was missing. And I'm going to be sorry to be leaving the camp. I kind of could have done a whole game centered around that living in the woods with on the drug farm drama. Those are my thoughts.
Do you think those missing signs were just about people that Meryl had disappeared?
We didn't even talk about the missing posters. I think that was just supposed to be a little bit of slightly heavy-handed sort of scene dressing to suggest that this is a sort of like for people who fell through the cracks.
Oh, it's like this is our lifestyle. People go missing. Like Penny's story of his friend who he lost forever and not sure what happened to him.
I mean, it doesn't make. You said this to me. It doesn't make sense to put those missing posters in the woods.
The woods are where the missing people go. So.
Yeah. So but there you go.
Anyway, sorry. Do you have any round-up thoughts?
Best episode so far. Unfortunately, I kind of feel like it might be the best one we see if they go back to the road movie format, because it just doesn't ping for me quite in the same way. And again, it's anyone's guess as to what we see next. But I've got my theories, and a lot of them involve murder. So we'll see.
I'm now like fully fascinated to see an episode set in or partly set in a religious commune. I'm here for the creepy cult vibes. I think that could be good, but it could also be really like squicky and like, but maybe that'll be fun too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm sort of weirdly glad that Jacob's coming back. Like, not that I'm like, oh, he's my favorite character, but I think there's definitely like more mileage to be had out of this like weird, quiet, shy, religious, thoughtful type that's
I was enjoying
just
seeing
waiting for
him.
a sign.
I was enjoying seeing him have his world
destroyed.
That's what you wanted.
I was enjoying like the bit at the campfire where he sat there, and also like Sean completely not reading the room at all. Jacob sat there like, I'm fine, and Daniel's just sat next to him like with that sort of like that kind of glassy-eyed expression that he has, like. And Jacob just sat there like, oh my god, be cool, Jacob, be cool. So I enjoyed that in Jacob, I suppose.
Okay.
Seeing him struggle, but
that was enough of it for you, was it?
No, I could handle more Jacob. I like Jacob.
Okay.
Yeah.
So predictions, Karen, do you think, or is she not coming
Yeah,
on until the end?
Karen for sure. I hope
Jacob,
they don't make us wait till the end. Yeah.
Nevada commune, possibly Sean in hospital and in custody.
Yeah.
And probably missing an eye. Surely missing an eye.
Yeah.
There's no saving
There's
an
no
eye.
getting that back.
Yeah.
No. Thank you. So that's what we thought. Thank you all so much for everything you've been saying in the chat. We've been reading it as it goes along. I wish we could have had time to read out more, but unfortunately we couldn't read out more and vent about quite as much things we had to vent about.
Finn. Damn it, Finn.
But yeah, thank you all so much for your chat. It's been lovely to see you talking to each other as well and like sharing theories and ideas. If you're watching this after it was live, then do drop into the comments and sort of share your thoughts there as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And we will subscribe to Eurogamer because they're good.
And they play Life is Strange.
They play Life is Strange.
We've played everything of Life is Strange there is so far, and it's all on the channel for you to watch.
Get involved.
Sometimes we're drinking while we do it. Because we need to.
Yeah. Their playthroughs are amazing. I always skip through to the big moments to sort of see their takes. I need to know what they both chose for both those things. Thank you, Jane. Thank you for jumping in.
You're welcome. Let's get back here. Let's all meet up again in weeks. Like,
in August or something, was it? I don't know.
I think
Call
so.
your friend.
And then the last one's in December, isn't it?
Yeah. Ask Michelle Coe.
Oh yeah, I'll drop my line.
Yeah.
Michelle, hey.
When?
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this and all that. We'll see you next time.
Work hard, mustard big.